Hello, I'm Kohler, and welcome to our show Inside Green, where we will be bringing you interviews with city directors and people who help keep our community safe and growing. We're filming from the TV studio right here inside Green High School as part of our TV production class, and today it is my honor to be sitting with our own mayor, Mr. Rocco Juergen. And thank you very much for being with us, first of all. And could you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for having me on, Kohler. It's a privilege to be here. So yeah, I get to serve as the mayor of the city of Green. I'm very excited and happy to talk about whatever's on your mind.
Awesome. Well, so first of all, what are your goals for your first term in office, and what inspired you to pursue a career in public service?
Well, if I go the second question first, I was a lawyer for most of my career, for 25 years, and I like problem solving, which is what lawyers do, and you get to deal with people, which is a big piece of the job. And so, in a respect, it was a natural transition to public service because you get to work on problem solving and you get to deal with people a lot, which are two of my favorite things. So that's how I kind of ended up serving on city council. And then when I did that, I realized, you know what, I really love this work in the city of Green. And so when Mayor Neugebauer's term was term limited, he couldn't run again, it gave me a chance to run, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Yeah, awesome. Could you share with our viewers some of the unique characteristics that Green has to make it a desirable place to live?
Yeah, Green has so much going for it. We have great parks. I mean, our parks, I think, are second to none. Terrific schools, which are the cornerstone of any community. When people move into a community, they want to know how strong your schools are. When businesses are looking for a place, they care about schools, and we're top-notch there. Our location also is terrific. If you look at us being halfway between Akron and Canton and right off of 77, all those things really create a recipe for, terrific growth and a certain excitement that our community has.
How do you balance the need for development along with preserving our green areas and historical sites and character of Green? How do you balance that, keeping that intact while also moving forward and developing?
That's a good question. You have to manage growth, right? And one of the ways that you do that is, I think you're careful where you grow, so that you want to make sure that what goes next to your residences is consistent with residential life, so that we're not having too much commercial stuff right on top of our neighborhoods. Yeah. One, and two, I think you invest in your parks and look to strategically, grow green space where it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Given the demographic makeup of Green, how do you plan to address both the needs and priorities of young people and also retired people?
So one of the things that I've discovered in going door to door, and I talked to a lot of people last year at their houses during the campaign, one of the things that people told me, both young and old, was they'd like to see a better infrastructure for walking. They'd like to be able to get around the center of town better. That they'd like better sidewalks. They'd like more reason to come downtown, better programming that draws people. So one of the things that we're working on is revamping our summer concert series this year. And so we've got one of our local car dealerships, Sarah, is helping us sponsor that. And we've come up with some really good acts, and they're going to be announced very soon for the amphitheater. And so most Fridays this summer, we're going to have something going on downtown.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So what initiatives do you have in place to support local businesses, such as the abundance of coffee shops in the area, and to just promote economic growth in general in Green?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things I'm doing is systematically meeting with business leaders, just to understand the temperature of how our local economy is doing, and understanding trends. What can we do as a community and as a city government to come beside our businesses and encourage the right type of growth? And so we're looking very closely at that right now. Meeting with people, understanding what they're seeing, and developing policy.
Yeah, it's definitely a great idea to make sure everyone's on the same page too and coordinate well. So with our Green's public schools are very highly rated, as you know, and how do you plan to further support and enhance the quality of education in the city? I know we're building that whole other school, which is amazing, but aside from that, what else?
Yeah, you got it. So you know what, the partnership with the school system I think is key, because as I said a moment ago, the quality of your schools is kind of the cornerstone of your community. So we look for ways that we can partner together. You know, as you mentioned, the community courts is one. It's a way that the schools can invest in education space and make our buildings flexible into the future, while the city can meet the needs of our local youth leagues for basketball courts at a cost that's more efficient and better. But we also look at ways in which we can partner to save money across the boards. And we value our relationship with our school board and superintendent, and we continue to want to foster that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the things that you see as the biggest challenges facing Green for the upcoming years, and what do you plan to do about them?
So I think, you know, one of the things that people have said to me is we need to be careful how we manage growth, and I think that's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
there are so many communities that are starving for new business and starving for, you know, revenue. And even in Green, as we've seen some of our big companies move out recently, so FedEx last year, we're looking to see that space backfill. And so we've seen that with Diebold, and we're very confident that that's going to happen with FedEx as well.
Yeah. So finally, how do you envision the future of Green under your leadership, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind for future residents and city officials?
You know, one of the things I want to focus on is connection, right? Both physically, with looking at how we can improve sidewalks and getting people out and enjoying the center of town without having to drive your car every single place. And then working on emotional and interpersonal connections as well. So having those, you know, things like the summer concert series that bring people together, create the sense of neighborhood, and doing little things like you've noticed on the Bettler and Maslin Road roundabout, you see the big bulldog sign that creates a sense of identity that people can rally around and kind of create that sense of excitement.
I was actually just talking about that the other day. There's not much bulldog around Green. It's just green, like it's a professional kind of look, but there's no bulldogs everywhere, and we're like, oh, there's a bulldog now. It's just a thing. But
I mean, little things like that
yeah,
that you can do to take advantage of your identity as a community, right?
Exactly.
Bring people together.
It's important. So I don't know, that's it. Thank you very much for talking with me today. I wish you success with all of the things you shared with us today, and I would also like to thank our wonderful audience for tuning in. So be sure to look out for our next episode.
Kohler, thank you for having me. It was good to be here.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you for coming.